During the present time, the businesses are at standstill position, and it's become more important for the organization to work in a most cost-effective manner. They have to reduce their operational cost and increase their profitability. How they can reduce their operational cost? Align people, process, and technology in a right way. Now, the organization which are adopting all these things in the right time are the organization which will be the future organization or which will be able to sustain. So if you are not able to reduce your operational cost, what will happen in probably in a couple of months or in a couple of years? You will be out. Robotics process automation is a mindset which you bring within the organization to bring a change in delivering the value to a customer. So RPA is not about bringing a tool within the organization. It's about how business processes are solution delivered and managed. So people generally ask what sort of processes are the right candidates for the robotics process automation. One key is RPA is not a silver bullet. You cannot just apply this everywhere. You have to see which processes are the best candidates for the robotics. So the key is you have to establish the criteria, filter criteria. There are a number of elements into this. The topmost are the processes has to be rule-based. They have to be repetitive in nature. The volume of the transaction in the process should be high in order to achieve the right ROI. There is a high number of errors which are coming in the process, so you want to control that. There are certain compliance requirements where you want 24/7 attention. There are a number of staffs are involved. The same thing you can automate with the number of robots. Now these are the things which you should always apply whenever you are taking the process for the robotics process automation. Then usually what I suggest is your organization always have a direction. You have to align your robotics approach with that direction. So you should further apply the criteria. If your organization is focused more on compliance, then take up all those processes which are compliance related. Or if the organization is about improving the customer service levels, then the processes should be those which are related to the customer service. If the organization objective is to reduce the number of employees, then the right candidates are where the number of people are involved. RPA process usually gives a ROI within 3 to 4 months. The more complex processes usually they gives about around 6 to 1 years of return on investment. And the more complex processes where there are a number of systems are involved and the business logic is very complex to implement, there are a number of exceptions. Those usually take 1 to 2 years in order to give the right ROI. And the foremost thing for the process you are taking is how many the full-time employees which are involved in the process. The second is how much salary they are getting, how much is their involvement with this process. Are they full-time or they partially involved in the process? Number of transactions they are handling in a month or in a day. Number of rework transactions which the employee do. So with all these things, what you will find out the cost involved in executing per transaction. Now let's see on the robotics side what you will get. The first thing is the license cost for the robo. Now if really there are 2 or 3 types of robots which are available in the market. One is the front-end robots, then the back-end robots, and a couple of hybrid robots. So the cost varies from company to company. Second cost is the infrastructure cost. The third thing is the services cost, whether you are doing in-house or you are taking services of some outsider or consultant. You have to involve all these costs. All these costs sum up and will give you the cost for the robo for the process. Robotics process automation fails. It is because of 2 or 3 major factors. One is the team who is implementing this robotics process automation is not aware of the technology itself. They are implementing for the very first time because the lack of skill available within the market, and that's one of the key factors. The other key factors is the poor change management. Since the robotics development, unlike your normal waterfall development where like usually the once the requirements are signed and the specifications have been written, it usually takes a couple of months time in order to deliver or in order to see the product. However, in the robotics we have a very small cycles, usually 3 to 4 weeks of development, and then you are able to see the change. So the change comes very quickly. So in order to cope up with this change, you have to involve various stakeholders, and all has to be on same. But your HR has to be aligned, your IT has to be aligned, your people, the process people also need to be aligned. Another important reason why robotics fails is because you do not have a defined successful criteria. Now this team and their roles, they vary from organization to organization. Typically in the organization you have a RPA sponsor, the owner of the initiative who wanted to bring the change within the organization. Second is the RPA champion, which is the business analyst for. The third is the RPA change manager, who will coordinate with the various stakeholders in order that the change is properly transferred once the RPA solution is. Solution architect is another important role. The most important role is the RPA developer who knows the technology in and out. One important role is the IT infrastructure support, because maintenance and the availability of the infrastructure has to be ensured. The key among all these things is the RPA team lead, who is probably the program manager or the project manager for the initiative. The organization which want to excel in the field of robotics and who want to implement across the floor, they usually establish center of excellence. Now, center of excellence for the RPA means any process which is identified for the robotics will come to this team. And however, the key responsibility for the center of excellence is to solution and deliver the implementation and do a smooth change management. Now, they are also responsible for the return on investment of the process. They are also responsible to establish the business metrics and performance goals, which includes your return of investment as well as the customer satisfaction. KPIs includes automation KPIs, which tracks the efficiency of the automated process. Then you have a virtual workforce KPIs, monitor the overall usage and optimize utilization of the deployed robot. Then you have financial KPIs, which monitors on monthly basis to find out the benefits of utilizing the robots. Then employees KPIs, which monitors the overall COE team requirements, their development or their training needs. So the key products in the market which you can choose from is UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, and there are many more. And Entity Data, a Japanese company, is also coming up very fast in this domain. Okay, people generally ask what is the relation of robotics process automation with the lean operational excellence. Now, in order to understand this, we have to understand how the quality cycle works. So there are 3 main elements in the quality. One is you have a quality assurance where you set up the right processes for ensuring the quality. Then you have a quality control where you do quality audits to ensure that your standards are being followed. And then you have a quality improvement, which in Six Sigma, lean process excellence, or robotics process automation. Different people have different way of thinking, but in my opinion, an optimized and standard process post Lean Six Sigma initiative is the right candidate for the robotics, because the process is already standardized and you do not need to deal with the number of exceptions which usually gives you problem when you are developing or when you are deploying the robotics. There's an old saying in the field of process excellence that improve first and then automate, and that goes hand in hand with the combination of Lean Six Sigma and robotics process automation. So in my opinion, deployment of Lean Six Sigma followed by robotics process automation not only increase your process efficiency but also the effectiveness in terms of better return of investment for the process, because you have less errors or your process is more stable